Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video you're going to be taking a look at the Cell Perfect Form GT and Frieza Final Form GT Grudge that sweeps through hell, the latest Battlefield LR, and how they perform at 55% in the Hidden Potential system. Now these guys are a Sworn Enemies category lead of Key plus 3, HP attack and defense of 130%, sorry. They raise attack and defense for 1 turn with a high chance of stunning on their 12 key, and greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, whilst raising extreme class allies attack by 2 turns by 30%. So very nice. From the passive skill portion, they activate the entrance animation once only. They will get Key plus 5, attack and defense of 40%, and a medium chance of evading the enemy's attacks for 6 turns from the character's entry turn when there's another Sworn Enemies, Revenge, or GT Bosses category ally. They have Key plus 3 and attack and defense of 140%, with an additional attack and defense of 70% when attacking. Sworn Enemies, Revenge, or GT Bosses category allies get Key plus 2 and defense of 30%. They have a high chance of performing a critical hit when there's an enemy whose name is Goku, and their chance of evading enemies' attacks goes up 20%, and attacks are effective against all types when the target enemy is stunned or target enemy's super attack is sealed. Their chance of evading the enemy's attack goes up by a further 20%, and launches an additional super attack when the target enemy is in attack down or defense down status. Now, honestly speaking, well, they also have their active skill, Hellbuster, which greatly raises attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage to the enemy, and seals their super attack. So, honestly, right off the bat, not bad. They're definitely a more SBR-centric unit. I think that's 100% apparent. And we'll talk about that a little bit now. But while we watch their really nice looking animations, by the way, that's one thing I will say about this unit that I think it really does have at a top level is its animations. Not that I have anything against the unit, but the animations are actually really good for a free-to-play. So Brutal Beatdown, Shocking Speed, GT, Nightmare, Fear and Faith, Otherworld Warriors, and Legendary Power are the links. And GT Bosses, Joined Forces, Otherworld Warriors, Revenge, Sworn Enemies, Target Goku, and Transformation Boost are their categories. To cut a long story short, they're 100% a SBR ESBR unit. So when anyone says, "Oh, well, they can't do this, they can't do that," they can't. Even at their absolute best, even at Rainbow, they're not going to carry you through red zone. They will be okay in some red zones, but in the majority, they're not going to carry you through. That's not what they're designed for. They're designed for shorter form content, debuff-based content, SBR, ESBR, and they do great there. They have a lot of really good abilities that kind of sync up well with what team you're going to run them on. So obviously they have that 30% base evasion. Then, of course, if you stun or seal the opposition, they have another 20% evasion. Then, if the opposition is in attack down or defense down, they have another 20% evasion. And this is fairly easy to get, because if you activate Fear and Faith on them, that triggers the enemies to have minus 10% defense, which means as long as you're running Fear and Faith with them, you're basically guaranteed to have, at the very minimum, 50% evasion for the first 6 turns. ESBR fights and SBR fights also generally don't last longer than 6 turns, so they tend to do very well evasion-wise. On top of that, of course, they have the high chance of crit when facing a Goku's enemy. This is neither here nor there. But what I do like is that they have attacks effective against all types when the enemy is stunned or sealed. Ideally, if you really want to get the most out of them, you're probably looking at additional with a tiny bit of crit, or alternatively additional and evasion. Additional and evasion will be the best defensive build for them. The evasion can kick in especially when they run out of their base evasion for those first 6 turns, and the additionals will help them not only to augment their damage by getting additional attacks, which will trigger their attacks effective against all types, but also will help them in terms of controlling the opposition and inflicting debuffs. For me personally, I would probably say, if you really want to run them efficiently, look at additionals and evasion. I think that capitalizes on what they bring to the table and allows you to run them at a very high level, and allows you to run them in a way that will benefit you a lot in the content you're going to run them in. Like I said, they're not really red zone destroying units. They're not designed that way. But for things like ESBR and SBR, they're great and they do a really fantastic job. So there is a lot of benefit that comes with them. and I think, honestly speaking, they do a really good job overall, and I'm very impressed with them. I think their animations are good. I think they provide a ton of utility. I mean, remember also, they are providing 2 ki, they're providing a 2-turn attack buff, they're stunning, they're sealing, and they're technically debuffing from their link, so they got a lot going on. Like, they have, generally speaking, a very high level of utility that they're providing, and I think that's really good. So for that, I have to say that I'm very impressed with their kind of kit design and their functionality from that point of view. So yeah, I think overall, if there's one thing I will say, these guys do a really good job at what they're designed for. If you bring them into an SBR or an ESBR, they will do a great job. They're going to support you, they're going to debuff the enemy, they're going to stun the enemy, they're going to seal the enemy, they're going to do good damage. I mean, yeah, it's not crazy attack numbers, but at 55% it's pretty good. And they have scope. You know, they can run relatively solidly on pretty much any of their teams. Yeah, they got enough key links. They got Fear and Faith, they got Shocking Speed, they got GT. So they got enough key links to really make themselves work on those teams. If you want to focus on a key link specifically for them, you can, I guess. Like Fear and Faith, Legendary Power, Shocking Speed, etc. will help out. But I think overall, you don't need to focus on their key. They got enough going on in their kit to make themselves work. And they don't have big bad bosses, so they don't have like a key link or a link that you need to focus on to get the best out of them. Their best link is probably GT, and you don't need to get it active. Otherworld Warriors is technically their best link, but it is probably one of the harder links to actually get active in the game, as there's not a huge roster of units that actively have this link. But yeah, overall I'd say they're really solid. They look lovely for a free-to-play unit, and for what they're designed for, I think they are great. I do think if you were expecting a unit that could do like, yeah, SBR or anything like that, I mean Red Zone or anything like that, like absolutely crush it or be a tank or something, that's not them. They could be an okay-ish floating support on some of the Red Zones though, like I won't even lie, they could be pretty solid on that front. So it's just going to depend on what you need to use them for. But I do think overall they are a nice unit, a great utility unit, and they look lovely. So yeah, but that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like. And as always, thanks for watching. And let me know what you guys think about them. They cost a lot of battlefield currency, so I do understand the hesitation. But hopefully this review has kind of helped you guys in like assessing the units and everything. But yeah, bye.